6, and here we are going to cover about the motor insurance. The third party insurance was made compulsory in 1946. So the cost of the vehicle always matters in terms of premium, whether you are driving the vehicle or not. But when you have purchased the vehicle, you need to carry, and cyclonic or any kind of natural disasters that is affecting your vehicle. Good morning and welcome to the session 5 on unit 6, and here we are going to cover about the motor insurance. Now, motor insurance is something that we see on our daily walk of life, and everybody aspires to have a two-wheeler or four-wheeler in our daily life. But what are the risks? What are the cautions? What are the precautions that we need to take while we are claiming the insurance? Let's go forward and have a look at it. Okay, so the motor insurance was started in UK, in England in 1864. So way back we started it. It's quite a long process that we are speaking about, and it originally covers third-party damages. Later, in the year 1899, it was extended to cover accidental damage. So initially it was only covering the third-party damages and it was not trying to cover accidental, but then after 1899, they made it a point that it's also going to cover the accidental damage altogether. Okay, so the motor insurance in India started after passing the Motor Vehicles Act. The third-party insurance was made compulsory in 1946. So that's where the motor insurance in India started picking up the steam altogether. The All India Motor Tariff governs motor insurance business in India. So that's the governing body that is going to talk about the motor insurance and the various aspects in terms of the insurance body. Now, moving forward, we will try to understand the loss exposure arising from the automobile accidents. Is it true that India is one of the largest countries in terms of accidents happening on the road? The answer is yes. Why? Because if you look into the Indian scenario, the Indian roads, many a times people get into accidents or people get into some sort of the road mishaps just because either they are not able to drive properly, or it is an incidental loss from the other side, or from the person who's traveling in the opposite direction just came forward and banged on to the next vehicle. Now, what is happening in this entire process is that there is a life and limb question that starts coming into it. A loss of life, a loss of limb also, which means to say that a legal liability for the harm caused to others as a result of negligence, which is a very, very important thing. The bodily injury that comes into picture, followed by property damage or the theft of vehicles. So now you can look into it. Motor insurance has got its own complications in terms of addressing the values here. So when you look into the legal liability of injuring somebody because of the result of negligence, by mistake, if you have driven the vehicle and it went ahead and crashed on somebody, leading to the loss of life, leading to an injury that is permanent or some sustainable factors altogether, then what happens here is that you will be questioned under the government, under the law altogether. Followed by the bodily injury. Why? Because in most of the accident, the first thing that happens is the injury factor. Suppose you are in a car or even in a two-wheeler, the possibility of you getting physically injured is very high. But most of the time, luckily, if you are not able to go to this level and, God forbid, this does not happen to you, you are safe enough. It's only a damage to the vehicle. But when a body injury is also involved in it, there is an exposure factor. The loss of exposure arising from the automobile insurance comes into picture. Property damage or theft of vehicle. When the vehicle is being stolen away, or there is a damage to the car, there is a damage to the physical asset that is involved in that, then automatically there is a loss of exposure arising from the automobile claims. Now, the premium rating factors. Now, what are the rating factors on which the premium is being charged in terms of your motor insurance? Driver's class, territorial rating, vehicle classification, technical classification, value of the vehicle, use of the vehicle, geographical area of operation, claims experience. Now look at the entire gamut of exercise that we need to go forward in terms of undervaluing your entire premium altogether. Let's start with the first one, and that's called as the driver's class. What kind of driver are you looking into? Are you a class A driver, class B, class C, class D? Now, what do you mean by class is the quality of driving experience, the type of driving experience that you have held in the past years. That will definitely look forward in terms of your premium, because if you have been a quality driver, if you have been a very capable driver who have not got into any accidents, any incidents so far, then automatically you will have a lesser premium to pay, and that will be really good for you. Why? Because your vehicle will be automatically covered. Followed by the territorial rating altogether. Now, the territorial rating, the area under which you are going to be covered. So, which state, which zone, which location also matters when it comes to the motor insurance. Now, you might think that a car is a car which is just going to drive on the road, be it a car, be it a lorry, or it's going to be a scooter or anything. But for the insurance company, it matters where it is going to run. So sometimes if the zone under which the car is being operated, or the company is trying to understand under which geographical area you're working, automatically the territorial rating also comes into picture. Followed by the vehicle classification. Is it a light vehicle? Is it a medium weight vehicle, or it's a heavy vehicle? What is it? So based on that, the vehicle classification will also be done. Followed by the technical classification. What kind of technology in terms of what is the classification of the vehicle? Whether it is used for a commercial purpose, is it used for a personal purpose, is it used for some specific purpose? So the technical classification of the vehicle shall be looked into before you start rating up the premium. The next one, the value of the vehicle. So the cost of the vehicle always matters in terms of premium. So it means very clearly, if you are going to buy a high-end car, let's say you're going to go for a BMW, Mercedes, a Lamborghini, a Ferrari, Maserati, all those high-end type of cars, which if you are going to get into, definitely the premium that you are going to pay in terms of insurance will also be high, because the coverage also needs to be higher. Followed by the use of the vehicle. How are you going to use this vehicle? So are you going to use it for commercial purpose, or is it going to be for personal use, or you are going to give it on some hire? What is the kind of usage that comes with that vehicle? So that is also a very, very important factor. Followed by the geographical area of operation. So what is the geographical area of operation? Under which geography are you trying to work across? So is it a hill terrain? Is it a normal road? Is it a coastal area? Or are you something in terms of it's a forest area kind of thing? So what I'm trying to make you understand is that the geography, the nature of surrounding the environment matters a lot in terms of understanding your premium rating. Followed by the claims experience. Suppose you have been a kind of person who has been claiming insurance very often. That shows that you are a kind of driver who's prone to make accident, and you have been doing it on a frequent purpose. Either you call it a bad luck, or you call it as a negligence of driving. So if your claims are really very, very high, that means the premium will also go up very high, because they know that you are prone to make damages. So they will ask you to take an extra cover insurance, and every time you will not be able to claim as and when you want. Followed by the types of motor insurance which we are going to talk about. There are two types. One is known as the Form A and the Form B. According to the All India Motor Transition, that's a factor. All types of motors are classified under the Form A and Form B. Form A is known as the Act Policy, Act Liability. This is the kind of a form where you will see that the policy covers the Act liability also. And Form B is known as Comprehensive Policy, that covers additional losses or damages. So the Form B is little more elaborate and extensive in nature. Why? Because This will try to cover lot of other features in terms of the insurance, but the Form A is basically an act policy which will try to look only into the cover the liability at the basic level. Followed by, let's now try to talk about the Form A policy. As per the Motor Vehicles Act, all vehicles plying in India must possess the Act policy all the time. Now it is mandatory whether you are driving the vehicle or not. But when you have purchased the vehicle, you need to carry an insurance copy with that vehicle. You cannot travel without insurance at any point of time. So if you are driving a vehicle without your insurance copy and the respective factors, automatically you are subjected to be treated by the law. So that means you might be held by the responsible agencies. Violation of this is punishable offense with a fine. That is the reason why the police, when they check up, they ask for your driving license, your insurance copy, your RC book altogether. Because if they find you that you are driving a vehicle without the insurance, automatically it's a violation of the Motor Vehicles Act and you will be fined for it. It's an offense basically. So you need to carry this act properly. Now, the policy covers the factors of third-party property damages, bodily injury, insured legal liability as per the MV Act. Now, what happens while driving is that by chance, accidentally, if a person comes and goes and hits your vehicle, the vehicle is damaged. So that's a third-party damage that is caused to your vehicle, which will be covered under this insurance altogether. Followed by which, suppose you land up in terms of getting a bodily injury. That means suppose you have been getting onto the zone where you have been hit, or there's some sort of physical injury that has been caused to you. So automatically the policy will also try to cover that factor also. Now, the other thing that you need to understand is that the period of policy is normally for 1 year alone. That's why we say it is a 12 months and then it has to be renewed. So you will get a notification these days through your mobile phone, your SMS or your WhatsApp saying that your insurance policy is going to expire. So please go forward and renew your insurance altogether. So a Form A policy is a basic level policy that will only cover the liabilities arising. So at any given point of time, if there is any liability that has been covered in form of the Third Party Act or any bodily injury that's caused or any legal liability aspect that happens, automatically the Form A will be able to cover it and you can claim it accordingly. And this is only a annual based policy. So every year you have to renew it. Followed by the Form B policy. The Form B policy is an optional cover and varies with different class of vehicle. So when you buy a small car, it has a different kind of an optional policy. And when you are going to buy a bigger car, a high-end car or a luxurious kind of car, you will have a different class of insurance that is going to protect it. Now, for private cars and motorcycles, there are only two sections. Where the commercial vehicles, there is an additional section. So, for example, private cars and motor, there will be only two sections. But for commercial vehicles, they will have an extra coverage which has to be manipulated, which has to be going in terms of the factors. Now, Section 1 of the comprehensive policy covers loss due to fire, explosion, lighting, and earthquake or storm, theft or burglary. Now, what we are trying to do is that we are trying to extend the motor insurance to the zone of cyclonic or any kind of natural disasters that is affecting your vehicle or any kind of physical damages that have been caused through that of explosion or fire or lightning plus earthquake and flood. And we also are covering up in theft and burglary. In Form A, these things do not come in. So when you go for a comprehensive policy, even these factors will be covered under that policy act. It also provides covers in terms of protection and removal cost and the authorization cost, which means to say that protection and removal, if there is going to be any kind of protective factor, any kind of extra protection that has to be given or any other cost that is involved with that, that will also be covered under this particular policy. The authorization cost, the authorization in terms of running up the policy, in terms of running the vehicle, any kind of factors that are related to this will be also covered under this Form B policy. Followed by the motor insurance claims are own damage claims, theft claims, third-party bodily injury claims, the fatal and the non-fatal. Let's just have a look into these factors of what are these insurance all about. Now, own damage claim, which is mean I had gone ahead and hit the car somewhere, or by negligence, my own car broke down or hit somewhere. So it's an own damage claim. That is called as self-negligence or self-awareness, where I have gone ahead and made a mistake by myself. So I would be able to claim that damage based on certain conditions. Again, I have to take the photo of the car damage, send it to the respective insurance company. The survivor will come and he will start looking into the factors, make an assessment of it, and then give me the insurance claim altogether. The theft claim, suppose my vehicle has been stolen, my bike or my car has been stolen. I can go for an for a theft claim altogether on an insurance basis, where I have to first go in for an FIR. The FIR copy has to be filed. The factors of when it has happened and how it has happened has to be notified to the insurance company. And then based on the value of the vehicle, I will get my insurance cover altogether. Followed by the third-party body injury claim. So for example, while driving, if I was hit by another car or if I was hit by another person, because of which there is an injury that is sustained to my body, injury that is sustained due to course of action in driving, automatically I would be covering under the Motor Insurance Claim Act. Now for this also, you need to take proper legal steps in terms of registering the complaint, in terms of making a notification that why it has happened, under what circumstances it has happened, and then only you can go forward and claim the insurance altogether. Followed by the fatal and non-fatal factors. Now, fatal is something where it leads to death. Non-fatal is something where you are only getting severely injured, or where you are just getting with a basic injury altogether. Now, a fatal is something where a person loses life during the course of driving because of a severe accident, what we call killed on spot altogether. And then we are talking about the non-fatal, where it is not like that. It is just about the injury or a severe injury that we claim about. So depending on that, the insurance company will first look into the case of whether it is a death or is it only an injury by accident. So based on that, you will be able to claim the insurance accordingly. But for all these factors, the first thing is that the documentary part of registering it, writing down all the details, letting you know what is the situation, and based on that, you will be able to claim your insurance. Moving forward, the own damage claims, where I'm talking about the claim form which you need to have, followed by the registration certificate and driving license, the FIR copy where you have registered with the police saying that this is the reason why it has happened, which clearly states what has happened with your car, how it has been done, what are the situation. Fitness certificate, how your vehicle was during the time before the incident, the trip sheet, how many kilometers it has run through, survey report about what the car is all about, how has been the surveillance, how has been the mode of the car. All these factors have to be provided clearly before you start claiming up your insurance. Followed by, with this, we come to the end of this session. I hope and believe that all the information provided here is of a great value and of a great resource. In the upcoming sessions, we will be talking about the comprehensive policy in detail and why comprehensive policy is becoming a very, very favorable insurance instrument for most of our Indians. Until then, stay tuned, stay blessed, and stay enlightened forever. Thank you once again for joining me on this wonderful session.